Hi everybody, Chris Titley here and welcome to Scoreboard.
This episode is powered by SwiftX, Australia's top-rated crypto exchange and proudly homegrown, just like many of the athletes and business leaders we feature on Scoreboard.
Hi, it's Chris Titley here, and on today's episode of Scoreboard, the podcast, I'm joined by Matt McMillan. Matt, thank you so much for being part of this series.
No, thanks for having me on, Chris. Looking forward to it.
Now, Matt, I believe this is your first ever podcast.
This is the first one, mate. So, yeah, there are a couple of nerves, but I'm sure I'm in very capable hands. So there we go.
Mate, we'll get it off. We'll get the first one out of the way pretty easy. The first easy question, mate. The name of your business and what you do.
Yeah, okay. So I'm Matt MC Art. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and pretty much, mate, I'm a self-taught artist. I've been doing this properly for about 5 or 6 years. Started drawing back in 2014, I suppose, taught myself a little bit. And now we just do pretty much artwork, any sort of stuff, mainly doing little sports cards, which are the main thing at the moment. But, lots of different mixed media things. So, yeah, that pretty much covers it, mate.
Awesome. Yeah, no, brilliant. And people can check you out. And this is the reason why you're on Scoreboard with the stories from the game of sport. There's a bit of a focus on sport, as you mentioned. The love of sport in your life, when did that come about?
Yeah, so I suppose I'm like a lot of Aussie boys. I sort of loved sport as a young kid, played sort of mainly footy and cricket growing up and tried my hand at tennis and everything. But, yeah, I've got lots of memories of always staying up late and watching, Wimbledon, the Australian Open, and, like test match cricket, mate. I just loved it all. I was just an absolute tragic for it. And I guess, when I was in my 20s, I figured that maybe I could try and mix a bit of a passion, which was art and sport, and try and create some cool things that people might like to collect. So, yeah, always loved sport, tried just about everything, but was never quite good enough to make it to any substantial levels. But, now we're just doing a little bit of sports art, which is good fun.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then when it comes to selection of your sports art, how do you go about that?
Good question. I'm probably lucky now that I'm getting to a point where I've got a fair few commissions lined up where I don't really have to think too much about it. People just come to me with players that they collect or players that they love or, players that mean something to them and commission me to draw them. I guess early on when I first sort of started, it was more just players that inspired me, whether that be a Michael Jordan from NBA or any sort of footballer in the AFL. Just sort of people that inspired me. And I still do try and do a few of those sort of love drawings where it's just someone that I want to draw, but predominantly it's commission based now. So which works out anyway, because a lot of the players, that I get to draw, I enjoy watching anyway. So yeah, it works out well.
And when you mean commissioned, is it commissioned from someone that's interested in a player or collecting a player, or is it the player themselves?
No, it's not. It's not the player themselves. I wish I could say that, but no, just collectors, mate. I have done a couple of pieces where the players have seen the piece or might have signed it for me, but I've never actually done a commission where a player has come to me and said, "Hey, can you draw me?" No, it's just more collectors.
Yeah, no, and then let's talk about the collecting industry per se of sport here in Australia. It's I grew up in the era of the junk wax era with the basketball cards in the early 90s, the Jordan era, which was, as a kid at school, it was pretty hard not to get involved in the trading cards. And then we've gone through phases of Pokemon and all that other stuff. But then come COVID, we've had a bit of a bump again and a resurgence, and people that had a little bit of time on their hands started trading cards. How would you describe the trading card market here in Australia?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's obviously it's up and down. I actually don't collect cards myself at all. I'm not really a collector as such, but I've obviously learned a fair bit about it because a lot of the people that come to me are collectors. But yeah, as you mentioned, the COVID boom, that was sort of when I started to draw what I now call my little art cards. So they're just kind of one-on-one basketball size footy card drawings, whatever you want to call them. That was when they sort of took off. I noticed another guy online whose name I'll mention, Ken Carl, his name is. He's an incredible sports artist. If you get a chance, check out his Instagram as well. And I saw his cards, and I just thought, geez, they are like amazingly lifelike. And he used Copic markers, which are an alcohol based marker, and I just thought, yeah, they're amazing. So I thought I'd have a go at them, and as you said, in COVID, they sort of the sports card market boomed a little bit. So I guess I saw an opportunity to have a go at that, and I had a little bit more time on my hands as well during COVID, with work being not as it usually would be. So yeah, I sort of jumped on that. I kind of rode the wave a little bit, I guess, when people were at home bored on, COVID lockdown or whatever. And I sort of got a fair few commissions out of that, which was great. I think it's probably steadied a little bit now. I do have one Kobe Bryant rookie in my collection, which I bought for a lot more than it's worth today, sadly. But it is good fun, and I can see why people enjoy it so much.
Yeah, no, and then obviously with the Australian sports, there's the BBL and the cricket cards and the AFL cards, and I think there might be some basketball cards. I can't recall, but the AFL cards certainly played a pretty prominent role in my children's data analysis of the game and knowing the players. I think it's actually quite important in regards to youth understanding statistics and players
do they
and
still
trading,
have the
etc.
stats on the back? Are they still on the back of the cards?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
But then when I was growing up, there was no such thing as really autographs and patch cards and one-of-ones. Do you want to give the listeners a bit of an understanding about the variations of trading cards out there now?
Yeah, okay. So as I said, mate, I don't actually know a whole lot about the collecting industry myself. I just do the drawings, but I'm in a fair few Facebook groups, and I do see a fair bit about them. And I guess there's variety that you can get. Obviously, one-of-ones, very desirable. It basically means, as it sounds, there's only one of them. So they're kind of generally a chase card that people want to get. And then you have your patch, as you said, which are generally, I think it's part of a jersey worn into the card, maybe. So yeah, they're pretty cool as well. And obviously, if athletes will do signings on cards, then that pumps up the value a fair bit as well. So, but yeah, for me, it's pretty much just drawing them, mate. And the one-on-ones I draw, most of them I don't create any more prints. So that's why they get called and labelled that one-of-one card, I guess.
Yeah, and then how does the process work in regards to what you do, and then the content and storytelling around the drawing and the actual process is very important, I'd imagine. A bit like a winemaker, I suppose, where they know that there's a bit of a backstory. How do you go about thinking about what you're going to draw?
Yep. So yeah, generally I like obviously with Instagram and TikTok, I'm just making my posts, and people will contact me for commissions. Once I get the commission, it's kind of just a relationship with the customer then, and how we want to sort of work it out. I generally say I do prefer if I choose the actual image that gets drawn. So for example, if you came to me, Chris, and said, look, I love Dusty Martin, I'm a huge Richmond fan, I'd love to get a card drawn of him, then I'd probably go away and find 5 or 6 images which I think would work, and I'd say, hey, look, do you like any of these? And if you're happy with them, we'll pick one from there. And it's, as I said, it's just a little bit of back and forth. We both decide on what we like and what we're both happy with. And it's a 50% deposit before I start, and then the remaining 50% is paid at the end. So, and in terms of the storytelling, mate, that's something that's just become so important, I guess, in terms of the promotion of what I do. It's with Instagram and TikTok and Facebook being what it is now. If you're not creating engaging reels that I suppose tell the story of how you create it, whether it's a time lapse or me just talking nonsense over the top of a video, that's the sort of stuff that you just need to do to be seen. And I'm sure you know that as well with your page. So it's a work in progress. It's something that I'm not naturally good at, but the reels are really I'm starting to post a lot more of those and trying to get better at it every day. But it still is definitely a work in progress.
I don't think there is a perfection in that. I think it's consistency, I suppose, but also authenticity. In and around, I've seen a couple of your reels whereby you've had a couple of bloopers and things, and it is quite funny. So being as honest as possible.
Yeah, I think that stuff's important, mate. I started to sort of film them, and I thought, like, far out, I may as well actually just put that crap in, because people are going to laugh at it, and I guess it does draw people in. Whereas when I first started, I was just trying to be a perfectionist. But yeah, there's definitely room for a bit of a laugh there for sure.
What's your view on being a full-time artist, and maybe some of the goals that you have with your artwork?
Yeah, good question, mate. This is something I've sort of wrestled with for a while. I'm a PE teacher by trade. I'm a primary school PE teacher, and I love my job. It's great. If the opportunity ever came up where I was going to be doing art full time, I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't going to take that with both hands, mate. It's definitely a goal of mine. It would be amazing to do. It's just figuring out how to do it in the meantime is probably the challenge. Some things pop up where you think, oh, this is it. I've got it now. I can do this like little side stream or whatever, and I'll be able to go full time eventually. Obviously, as life happens, things just don't work out as they always plan in your head. And so basically, I would love to do it, mate, but at the moment it's not feasible. I've got a young family, and I do love my job in PE teaching. So for now, it's just really good fun on the side. But it would be great to do it full time one day. And in terms of, I guess, goals, sort of what goals I have with it, it would be really cool to work with either like a select cards or even official team coach or something like that. I see a lot of their cool stuff, and I think they do have some sort of artworks on some of their cards as well. So it would be awesome to do that one day, even just to get a chance to do one series of those would be a really, really cool thing as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. And they're some of the AFL cards I've noticed, and their brands and some of the kids, the innovation is pretty interesting with QR codes now on some of them as well. I saw a hologram on one the other day in regards to AR or augmented reality, I think it was.
Yeah, it's constantly changing.
And there's different names and different whatnot. So the collaboration between you and a card producer would be something. In regards to pricing and how you value your own work, it's something which a lot of people, including myself, have struggled with in life. How have you gone about that?
Yeah, mate. I battle with that. I battle with it every day, mate. It's some weeks I think like, all right, we're gonna up the price, and that's just going to be what it is. And then all of a sudden you'll go through like a little rut where you're sort of not getting as much, I guess, work coming in, not getting as many commissions, and then all of a sudden the little voice in your head saying like you're not good enough. You need to lower your pricing. But I think it's really important that I've tried not to lower my pricing too much because it devalues the work. And yeah, I don't know, man. It's sort of hard to really talk about, but it's definitely something that's always on my mind, and trying to get that, I suppose, perfect price is just, yeah, as you said, it's really hard, mate. And you're working with different people with different incomes, and some people see the cards as being this big, so they think, well, that should cost me next to nothing. But then you bring in the whole, well, it's a one of one. I'm not selling any prints of this, so that's why the price is what it is. I mean, I think my prices are fairly reasonable, but I guess you'd have to talk to some of my customers about that one. Decide on that.
Yeah, you mentioned about the different economic circumstances of every customer, and it's fascinating to think about because some people will drop an amount of money and it'll be nothing to them, and then some people it'll be an enormous amount of money. And we've had this conversation on Scoreboard with some CEOs of leagues, and organisations around ticket pricing for live sporting events. Again, very similar sort of mantra on how you go about pricing and membership as well. I see that during the week, St Kilda went for a $7 membership over 7 days. It seemed to work reasonably well for 3 games. So
the NAS signing,
the NAS signing, a little bit of back and forth on the banners I saw as well in terms of GWS and St Kilda on the weekend. But, I'm also curious.
It's always going to be hard.
Yeah, I'm curious also to know around you being your best in regards to art. What time of day is it? How do you feel? The things you do to kind of be the best at what you do.
Yeah, that's another good question, mate. And it's certainly changed for me in the past probably 18 months or so. I became a dad last year, so I've got a little 1-year-old boy now. So that's definitely changed how I approach what times I draw. I used to be a complete night owl, mate. I'd get home from work, do what I need to do, get some exercise in, have some dinner, and then it would be kind of righto. let's go to the studio and just draw for. It'd be nothing for me to be drawing at 1:00 in the morning still and sort of call it there. But that's just not a reality anymore. So I've actually found, even just in the last month or so, I've been trying to get up really early in the morning, whether that's 4 or 4:30 is kind of the goal time. And it's actually been working really well. I find that I'm actually probably more productive then. So yeah, it's an early morning thing for me now, but it used to definitely be a coffee and burning the midnight oil sort of thing. But I think if I look back on it now, I probably wasn't doing as good a work at that time of night just because it was so bloody late. But now the mornings are probably where I'm going in the future, I think.
And how have you handled perspective and as well as priorities when it comes to now being a dad and the time you've got in the day to allocate and how you allocate time?
Yeah, absolutely, mate. It's it's certainly changed the priorities, and I think it's just a good reality check. Having a little one to chase around, you think you've had a bad day, and you get home to them, and it just changes everything. Things that seem like such a big deal in the middle of the day, as soon as you get home and you see their face, it's everything's just forgotten and life's good again. And I guess he does. I guess he inspires me a little bit. It's a little bit of a purpose, I suppose, to chase my dream a little bit with art and continue to do that to, I suppose, set a standard for him and a good example. And hopefully he's a little artist as well. But if not,
yeah. In terms of that goal to stretch to become a full-time artist, I'm curious to know, and we've talked about pricing in regards to the quantity of work. Is it a quantity thing you think for you in regards to people ordering your work, commissioning work for you, lots of work, or is it about quantity of, now, sorry, did I say quantity or quality? I can't remember. I think I said quantity. And then I'll just pause for a sec.
Yeah.
And then versus, say, quality, where you might only do a couple of pieces. It might be limited edition. It might be one of one, but it goes for a bigger price.
Yeah, for sure, mate. That's something that I definitely have wrestled with, and I think with art, and I suppose if there's any artists out there listening, they'll be able to resonate with this. It's not. I mean, it's you talk about the grind and just get in and do it and just do it, but I think with art, it's difficult to just put in the hours. I find that I really have to be in the right headspace to be able to draw, and I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Like I'll sit down and I'll draw for 10 minutes and think, all right, geez, we better stop now, because if I stuff something up now, then I'm going to be really angry at myself. And that's something that I've had to work really hard at, to say, try and overcome that and say, no, you do need to push through this, and it's going to be okay. And it's just, I guess it's a procrastination thing for me. And as you said about the quantity versus quality thing, I do enjoy the one-on-one so much, but I probably can't create a full-time living off those, purely because it's just so much drawing. Like it's just constant. Whereas if I'm doing a print, I might be doing an A4 drawing or an A3 drawing, and then I could sell 100 prints of that, for example. It's a lot less work just on the pencil. So it's just I think it's about finding a balance where I can create work where I can sell prints, but also offer the one-of-one to those serious collectors, I guess, mate.
Yeah. And then what about like the live commissioning? Do they pop up every now and then in terms of like a lunch or a gallery opening or something where you actually get some work?
Yeah, no, I've never really done anything like that, mate. I've never gone to a live event like that. I don't really know if this is what you sort of mean, but I did go to a collector's event earlier on in Melbourne called Collect Fest. I don't know if you've heard about that, mate, but it was a fair bit drummed up on Instagram there. So I had a little stall there. That was just at Exhibition Centre in Melbourne. So that was, when was it? A couple of months ago, I think, June. And that was really cool. It probably wasn't really my scene. It was a lot of people there were collecting Pokemon cards, some sports cards as well. But I don't know, I guess people hadn't really seen a whole lot of the kind of sports art cards, and I didn't sell a whole lot, to be honest. I made some really good connections with people there and people that have since become customers and friends, I guess, that I've had chats with on Instagram, other artists I met as well. But no, I've never actually I've never had my own exhibition or a live event like that, where I've had a space that's, yeah.
When it comes to particular players or commissions, etc., when someone says, "Can you do a Dusty Martin card?" and they pay you and you do it, have you ended up, at some point in time, had those players see your work and any feedback there?
Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of players that have seen my stuff. I don't know if you've seen, Chris. I've been doing a couple of collaborations with players. So I draw them and then release a certain amount of prints, and they actually sign the prints. I've actually got a couple here. So I did a Mason Redmond one, if you can sort of see that one, and there's a Richo one. So they sign a certain amount. So those ones obviously aren't one of ones, but yeah. So
they don't commission you to do theirs, but it's more like they're collaborating with you.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'm definitely the one starting the conversation there. I just kind of reach out to players and see if they'd be interested. And yeah, some people are around it. Some I don't get a reply out of, and that's totally fine. But but there has been plenty of times.
Do they ask for any money, by the way, just out of curiosity?
Nah, so I haven't yet offered money. It's been a charity angle. So what I'll say is that I donate 50% or whatever it may be. Usually it's 50% to charity, and I offer the original card to the player. So I guess I did it. The Richo one I showed you, mate. That was what did we donate to? We donated to the Pat Cronin Foundation, which is about the coward punch. So Richo is an ambassador for them, and I asked him if he'd be on board in this, and he said, "Yeah, definitely. Can we do Pat Cronin?" And I said, "Yep, that would be great." So we did 50% to Pat Cronin, and I gave Richo the original as kind of a thank you. But I think down the track I would look at paying the athlete as well.
Yeah, and then from a collaboration point of view, it'd be great to have them on their Instagram feeds and promoting. Is that
that's right.
Is that a sort of a marketing ploy for you in the future?
Yeah, for sure, mate. And it's a I suppose a challenging one as well, because as much as they're keen to help out, they also don't want to flood their followers with stuff that isn't really. I don't know how to explain it, but
benefiting them.
Yeah, not benefiting them, I guess, which is fair enough. But some do. Like Richo shared it to his story, and a couple of the other ones have as well. And they've all the guys I've worked with have been really good to work with, so that's been good.
And when it comes to, and I don't want to get too technical, legal, but it comes to sort of rights and things like that, are they under some impression that, some money needs to go to them, you think, in the future? Or is that how it works now at a higher level, or the leagues or something?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on that, mate. I think it's a bit of a grey area. I probably need to look into that a little bit closer.
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, I don't know how it works, and I was just curious more than anything.
Yeah. I think retired players all above board. Current players, a bit of a grey area, but because they're drawings, I think I might be okay. But yeah, I probably need to look that one up a bit more. There's been I did a painting of Dyson Heppel on an Essendon footy jumper, and I posted that, and he saw it and just commented and said, if I want to bring it into the club, he'll sign it for me. So there's been things like that.
Awesome.
I did a drawing of Pendles, and his mum reached out, and I gave her a couple of prints. Same thing happened with Dusty Martin, believe it or not. His mum reached out, so I gave her a couple of prints. So yeah, I've had a lot to do with superstars' mums, probably more than them. But
it comes back to family, isn't that good?
It's all something.
Their biggest advocate and biggest fan, and know them better than anyone else in their lives. So that's awesome, mate. I'm going to touch on you for a second. You've obviously grown up as a sports mad person in Australia, but I'm keen to know what your all-time favorite sporting moment is.
Oh, mate, that's a really tough question. My all-time favourite, so before we get into this, I'm an Essendon fan, mate, in terms of AFL. So it's been long suffering for a while. We haven't had much success, but I was 10 years old when we won the 2000 premiership, and like Hurdy, Lloydie, all those boys, they were just my idols. And I just thought, once we won that flag, I thought, well, this is it. Essendon just going to keep winning, and that'll be great. But sadly, we haven't had much success from then. But probably at 10 years old, I think that would probably be my favourite sporting memory because I'm a huge Essendon fan. A little bit more recently, I guess, I just loved the Swans and Eagles rivalry back in sort of 2005, 2006. My cousin actually played for the Swans. His name's Ryan O'Keefe. He made a pretty good career out of himself. So I loved that rivalry they had. In terms of other sports, though, I think I'm a huge basketball fan, and it's pretty hard to go past Michael Jordan's final shot against the Jazz. That was
absolutely
huge,
well documented in The Last Dance.
Very well documented.
I thought you were going to go down the path of the bronze medal for the Boomers, which was pretty special as well.
That's a good one as well. I went to school with Sobes. I'm a big fan of Sobes, and he did awesome to get that bronze. So yeah, that's certainly up there, mate. They were unreal.
Mate, there's been plenty of sporting moments. That's why I asked the question. It's always good to reminisce as well. Now, we talk of making things a full-time living and money, etc. And Scoreboard has a sponsor in SwiftX, which is Australia's top-rated cryptocurrency. They have over 1.1 million users in Australia and New Zealand, and part of their new campaign is Where Can Crypto Take You? And as part of our partnership, we do this little segment called The Bucket List, which is a sporting event that you haven't attended that you'd love to attend live in person.
Geez, yeah, right. A bucket list. There's quite a few. I'm at that point now where I've given up footy. I've given up cricket. The body's starting to let me down, and I'm now a hack golfer. So I'm completely obsessed with golf. So I'd have to say, I reckon the Masters at Augusta would be one that I would just absolutely love to be at. A game seven in the NBA finals would be pretty cool as well. I'm a Boston fan. I'd love to go and watch them win another ring. There's two, mate. There's too many to name. I'm an AFL tragic, so I'd love an Essendon grand final.
An Essendon GF, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be good. But yeah, I reckon probably the Masters. If I had to really pick one, it would be the Masters at the moment.
Yeah, it's popped up a couple of times after this year's Rory as well.
Yeah.
And then a Celtics fan. It was a bit disappointing this year with Tatum's injury. And
shattering.
So you got the Bickies. But you did make the final. Essendon did make the final against the Lions in 2000.
Correct, mate. And we kicked off their three-peat. So
yes.
Kudos to them.
And then also we're recording here on Monday, the 25th of August, and on Wednesday there's a big game in Queensland between the Essendon Bombers and the Gold Coast Suns. The first history-making Gold Coast Suns finals appearance potentially, unless unravelled by the Bombers. What do you reckon?
I was talking to a few boys at work today, and we were just having lunch, and we said it would be the most Essendon thing to do to turn up and actually beat them. I mean, I can't see it happening, mate. I've got a few mates that are Bulldogs fans, and they would be very happy. But as much as I love me boys, I don't think we can do it, unfortunately. But stranger things have happened, Chris.
It's been the most. Well, I think someone said to me as well. It's been the most number of players that have played for a club in Essendon's history or someone's history due to the amount of injuries. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think it was 15 debutants or something, wasn't it?
15 debutants in a year. There you go. We got two final questions. One being your scoreboard moment, which is a moment in your life which is very, very visual.
Yep.
It's like a Kodak moment picture.
Yep.
And then from that moment, you realised things have changed.
Scoreboard moment. Okay, well, I guess that's pretty tough, mate. I think I'll bring it back to art, and I guess it's probably a bit of a two-part moment. First one was when I started drawing, which was 2014. Was when I first started. I was at uni, and as a lot of uni people do, they have a lot of time on their hands, mate. So I just sort of started to draw, and I can't remember the first drawing I did. I think it was like a Batman or something. And I posted it online, and it got a fair bit of traction. And I thought, well, actually, this might be something that I can kind of make something out of. And from there, I started to get a couple of commissions. And I thought, well, yeah, shit, this could actually work out into something. And I guess that was probably what kickstarted the art career as a scoreboard moment. And I guess, the next one probably just, I don't want to get too down on you and a bit sad at the moment about this one, but in 2020, my dad actually passed away from dementia, and that was something that was, I suppose, for a while there when he was sick, I didn't really draw much, just to, I guess, focus on spending as much time as I could with him. But scoreboard moment there would be, I suppose once he did pass, it was kind of like, all right, well, that's done now. There's no excuse not to have a crack at this. Like he'd sort of want me to, I guess. So I started drawing a lot more from there, and that was when, I guess, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm as successful as I want to be in art at the moment, but that's where it sort of started to take off a little bit more, and I did get, constant commissions, and that's why I guess I'm a little bit passionate about donating to charity through some of these collaborations. Like the first one I did with Mason Redmond was to Dementia Australia, and that was I guess for Dad. But so I mean, don't want to get too sad at the end of the podcast, mate, but that's probably the scoreboard moment that I think kind of changed the trajectory of what I was going to do with art, because I could have thrown in the towel and just stopped and continued just teaching and doing nothing else. But not that there's anything wrong with teaching, but art was always the passion, and I suppose it almost went by the wayside when Dad was crook. But yeah, I think that would probably be the moment, mate.
Mate, being on your first podcast and sharing that moment, I'd certainly congratulate you for being open and honest and transparent about that. So thank you for that, because it takes a lot of courage to talk about that, and certainly it was a very tragic moment in your life, but you've come through the other side, and there's a deep motivation to help, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah.
The final question is, we do this podcast. Let's say we repeat this podcast in let's go 2028. What do you reckon? 3 years from now, where would you like to see you and your art?
Geez. That's a tough question. I think, look, I could easily say full-time artist. But I don't think that will be the case in 3 years' time. I would say I would like to be at a position where I can work in terms of teaching less and rely on art as well for I guess more so an income than just a passion that it is at the moment. So I won't say full time, but less working as a teacher and more working artwork, and just find that balance better, I guess, would probably be where I'll be in 3 years, I think, Chris.
There you go. So the balance of loving to teach and help and educate people, and the love of the passion project in a combined way. At some point in time, the equilibrium may swing either way, but at this stage, hoping at some point in time the art picks up and there's work less. I think that's a really good way of describing it. Matt McMillan, thank you so much for being on Scoreboard, the podcast. Your first podcast. You've done really well. It's over now. It's okay.
Thanks,
thank you for that. And congratulations on what you've achieved thus far with your artwork and your social media presence, and what you're building in terms of your transparency around the process of your art, the types of art that you commission, particularly in sport. Let's hope there's some further sport collabs out there. And if anyone's listening that wants to collab with Matt, check his Instagram page out, and I wish you all the best.
Absolutely. No, thanks very much for having me, Chris. It's been very enjoyable.